Hi there, I'm Deb Crowe, and I want to welcome you to Season 4 of Imperfect, the Heart-Centered Leadership Podcast. This is a podcast where we connect, learn, and laugh together with authentic and courageous leaders from all over the globe. You will learn from leaders you haven't even met yet. You will gain new tools to add to your leadership toolkit, because leadership belongs to all of us. It is not measured by stature or title. So please pull up a chair and listen in. This is the Imperfect, Heart-Centered Leadership Podcast. Well, welcome to the April solo podcast. I was looking at virtual backgrounds and I just love this one. I thought I want to be sitting here with the fire and the sunset and just all the feels. The weather in Canada has been crazy. It has been winter, then summer, then spring, then winter, then fall, and repeat. So we've had temperatures that we see in the summertime here, and it's been a crazy, crazy month of weather in March. So here we are in April. Most businesses are done Q1 and lots of conversations for what was set for Q1 goals, what was achieved, what wasn't achieved, and why. Is there more information? Was there a barrier? Is there another conversation? Is there further trust and rapport being developed with the connection? All those kinds of feels. I was so delighted to be in the March issue of a wonderful magazine in my city called London Inc. Thanks and shout out to Gord Delamont. And he did a beautiful feature with some questions and titled the interview, Lead Well, Live Well. And I got to looking at it and reading it, and I thought, if that doesn't really show and epitomize the subtitle of my book, which is How to Master the Art of Heart in Life and Leadership, I don't know what does. Other exciting things. My audiobook was released on Audible, and the goosebumpy serendipitous moments was it was released on March 11th. And for those of you who listen along and have read my book, you know that March 11th is my Irish Nana's birthday. And I thought, how serendipitous is it that the book got recorded and uploaded and went through Audible's QA process? And I didn't know the date. I thought it was going to be closer to the end of March. And much to my surprise, it was on her birthday. So I wished her a happy heavenly birthday. If she was alive today, she would be 116 years old, which is kind of where I wanted to go with this kind of podcast today, is the whole middle age thing. I've talked about it before, about being a modern elder if you're 45 and older, and how the term senior citizens really getting kind of thrown out with the bathwater, if you will. And I'm looking at the largest population globally, and it's the baby boomers and my generation, the Gen Xers. And it's interesting to me that the talent pool keeps getting smaller on a global level, yet the largest talent pool is people 45 and older. So we're seeing a real mix of articles and exposure to the talent that this demographic has. And we're seeing the shift in HR policies, in hiring and onboarding, and a BA is no longer required, or a master's for some companies on a global level. And that really speaks volumes to me, because you can't, it's like assessments. You don't have a one size fits all for the whole company. You match the assessment to the person. And are we really measuring personality, or are we measuring behavior? And when you can hire someone that has 30, 40, 50, 60 years experience, exemplary customer service, and well-honed emotional intelligence, I'm hearing from HR talent professionals, it's trumping people that are coming out of school with many degrees. So don't send me hate mail about not having a, post-secondary education, because not everybody has that road. It's not afforded on many levels to so many people. And you just can't bottle up experience. It cannot have any kind of comparison to academic pursuits or achievement. And I'm hearing this and having a lot of conversations around it with clients, with prospective clients, with the 3 organizations that I work within globally. And if the talent pool is getting smaller, we have to come up with another resolution. And that is to find the talent that may not have the criteria specified for said job or role and responsibility. But if you can onboard someone with multiple decades of experience, I just don't think anything's better than that. You can always train the technical aspect of a role, but I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Can you really train the soft skills, the emotional intelligence? Do you think people just have it or they don't have it? Do you think they can have it? Can they change? Can they adapt? Can they grow? And if they do, is it sincere? Is it real? Is it authentic? I'm going to let you ponder and ruminate on that, because that's a question that I have and receive minimally on a weekly basis. And some people can say that on a resume. They can portray it in an interview, and then they get into the job. And I've had companies say this person is not who we interviewed, or how they portray themselves on their resume. So very interesting dynamic. So here we are, the start of Q2 for 2024. I had some hefty goals and I'm plowing through them. But I'm also allowing some time to do nothing, because I came off writing the book, marketing the book. It's been a lot of work. Also got into Indigo in Canada, which is great. My public library. I got in our local college that I teach at. So lots of libraries also have my book. So it feels rewarding that I've done and written a book that's in ebook format, paperback, and now audiobook. I recently had a holiday in Punta Cana. The weather was great. And I mapped out the research and the layout of my next book, which is going to be a children's book on leadership. And some other fun things that I'm going to continue to do within my own community is giving back to our younger leaders. So I went back to my high school, which was super fun. I hadn't walked in that building in 40 years. I left there at 18 and I'm on the heels of 58. So how cool is that? I also enjoyed speaking to 30 grade 12 students at my high school and telling them my story of what it was like landing there when I was 14, coming from a small rural high school to a very large city school. It was social shell shock. That's a tough one to say with 3 S's. But it was meaningful, and I get back so much spending time with young people. And we had a fireside chat, and I left them my book, and they had some great questions, and I'm excited to see where they will be in 5 to 10 years on their leadership journey. I also visited a local nonprofit called Youth Opportunities Unlimited, YOU, and I got to spend an evening with some youth. And again, just listening to their stories and sharing my story and showing them that in order to lead and be a leader and really immerse yourself in leadership, it all starts with a conversation. And just to follow up on my point about post-high school education, you don't have to have initials after your name to be kind. And that's the biggest message that I instill in these young people. And I just love their curiosity and their awe and their wonder and just all the visionary leadership that they're having with their thoughts and their dreams and their goals. And to just, share my journey a little farther down the road. And 40 years to an 18-year-old is like eternity. So, because I remember being that 18-year-old and thinking people in their 50s were old. Not anymore. We're halfway. We are certainly leading and living well, like I said, well into 100 past. It's becoming the norm now for our population. So I wish you a happy April. I hope wherever you're listening that you're transitioning into the next season in your life, the next season that you may have for weather. I live in Canada, so who knows? I joke, but I'm actually being serious at the same time. We're to have an early spring, but I think we're still holding on to those dog days of winter. It's cold and chilly today, and we have snow on the ground. So I'm continuing to speak. I am booking keynote speeches for the fall of this year, which I'm excited about. And I'm just continuing to have meaningful, aligned conversation about heart-centered leadership, which is always the forefront of my mindset, my habits, my business, my life, and who I am as a woman leader, a woman heart-centered leader. So I'm going to challenge you to think about the question I left you today, and how are you being a bit more heart-centered this month? What have you tried to do? What's not working? What's working? Have you failed forward? And what have you learned? And most importantly, are you having full circle life moments? That's how I end every chapter in my book. And I know I certainly am, and some of them are tough, but I always find that when everything gets going tough, there's something great right around the corner. So have a great, great April, and thanks for tuning in. And I hope your next season is going to be bold and exciting, heart-centered, and rewarding. Thanks so much for joining me today on Imperfect, the Heart-Centered Leadership Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the show today and have learned some new tools for your leadership toolkit from our amazing heart-centered guest. If you like the show, feel free to give us a rating and a review, and we always welcome your feedback anytime. If you're ready to master the art of heart, my new book, The Heart-Centered Leadership Playbook, is now available on Amazon, or you can click the link below in our description.